What is going on, wonderful people? I want to thank you for stopping by. You got Sturkules here, and today we're going to be going through the top 10 shiny Pokemon that I personally own, and we're going to be looking at some of the stories of how I got those. Now, I think if there's one thing we can all agree on in the Pokemon universe, it's that shiny Pokemon are amazing, and when you get one, it is one of the most exciting things that can happen in your journey. There's so many different ways to shiny hunt, whether if it's through hatching eggs, Masuda method style, or normal, whether it's doing the Dynamax raid dens or the Dynamax adventures, whether in past games it was some sort of Poke Radar that you used or some sort of Ultra Wormhole that you used, whether it's Pokemon Go, however you get it, it's such a special experience you get one, and when you get a random shiny, it's just that much better. Without further ado, let's hop into the list. We got some honorable mentions here. First off, we have a shiny Conkeldurr that I got in the fan game Pokemon Insurgents. If you've never played that game, first off, it's amazing. The suzerain did an amazing job on it, but I got a random shiny Conkeldurr on Victory Road. I don't think I used it on my team because I had a full team of Delta Pokemon I wanted to use. What an idiot, right? But hey, I have it sitting there somewhere. I got a shiny Blastoise on Pokemon Go. Now, we all have a million shinies on Pokemon Go, but shiny Squirtle was my first one. It was the first community day I ever did on Pokemon Go. Despite having had it, I guess I'd just never done one. So to me, that was a very special thing to be able to raise it up to a Blastoise. I have a shiny Gigantamax Charizard on Pokemon Sword and Shield. And if you don't know, when you try to catch a Gigantamax Pokemon in raids, they just break out all the time. It's so hard. So every once in a while I'd get in on a shiny on one of these, and I feel like every time I'd see a shiny Gigantamax Pokemon, I'd fail it. I'd failed multiple Charizards, multiple Alchremies, etc., etc., and I finally caught a shiny Gigantamax Charizard. It was very special. It's a great looking shiny. I felt like it had eluded me for so long. And Charmander's the first Pokemon I ever had, so that was a cool thing. And then the last one of the honorable mentions is a shiny Kartana. I got that from the Dynamax Adventures, where you have very good odds to get a shiny. And I'd gotten a few that like were okay but not that cool. But I hadn't gotten any legendaries from it, and I'd done several Kartana raids, and I finally got one. And not only is it a good shiny, not only do I love using it in competitive, but it's really funny watching that itty bitty little guy follow you around in the game. So that was a very exciting thing for me. But let's hop into the real list, shall we? Coming in at number 10, we've got my man Morpeko, who I named Smores. Now, if you know me, you know I love Morpeko. It's in my top 5 Pokemon for sure, and it's one of the first Pokemon that I decided to Masuda method shiny hunt for, which is essentially you get a foreign Ditto, and then you get a whatever Pokemon you want, you have them breed, and you go around hatching eggs, you get really good shiny odds. And I did this till I got me a shiny Morpeko. The reason I named him S'mores is because I think its color scheme looks kind of like a s'more, and I just think it wouldn't be quite as hungry if it would eat a s'mores every once in a while. I'm just saying. But he's a cute little boy. I love having him. One of my favorite shinies. But not as great of a story. So coming in at number 9, the stories start getting better from here. I got myself a shiny Rotom Heat that I named Casper. Casper the friendly ghost. Rotom's always getting into mischievous shenanigans, you know, getting into all these household appliances. So I thought it was pretty fitting. But how I actually got it was, I'm pretty sure it was full odds in a raid. I don't think it was from someone like doing a raid reset or anything, because it was like a 2-star raid and it was only me and one other person in there. If you know anything about it's not a glitch, but the raid den exploit that people do where they'll keep changing the date. Usually it's a 5-star raid, and usually tons of people are trying to get in. So the fact that only 2 of us were in there and it was a very low star raid makes me think it was actually full odds. So I was in the middle of playing a cage lock with my friend Cole Rocket from the NPDL, and which he won, I'll admit that. But he like went off to eat lunch or something, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna stay on and grind for a while, because we'd play over voice chat on Discord while we played. And while he was gone, I got this shiny Casper, and I got to add it to my team. And I actually I lost to Leon up until basically I had one Pokemon left against Leon, and he was able to sweep through like the last 3 Mons. So everyone died on my team except this shiny Casper. So that was very cool. Having Rotom Heat on the playthrough was a lot of fun. And the stories just keep getting better from here. As we go into number 8, I have a Psyduck on Pokemon Go that I named Quaxton. What a great name, I know. And the reason that I think this is such a fun story is, one, I think it's just a cute, derpy little thing that I've never evolved. But I was having a bachelor party weekend with my friends Austin, Caleb, and Cooper, and we were in Indianapolis. This was like a year or two ago. It was a while back. We were in Indianapolis at the NCAA Hall of Fame Basketball Museum. And while we were going through looking at that, we were also playing Pokemon Go because we're nerds. And there were a bunch of spawns out that weekend. There was some event. And I saw this Psyduck in the middle of there. And I was like, hey guys, I'm going to catch up with you. I'm going to catch this shiny Psyduck real quick. And as soon as I clicked on it, boom, sparkles. I called my shot. I invited this beautiful little Psyduck to join my squad, and I've had it ever since, never evolved it, and I absolutely love me some Quaxton. Coming in at number 7, we've got Victory Bell. Now, Victory Bell is not a Pokemon that I would normally be gravitated towards, though it's not a bad shiny, but the story behind it was pretty cool. It was a full odds shiny. This is not the picture of it. And it actually wasn't in a horde battle like this, but I showed you this picture to show that if you see a shiny Weepinbell, it barely looks different from a normal Weepinbell. Now with a Bellsprout or a Victory Bell, you can tell a little more, but I was in that swampy area in Pokemon X trying to make my way through to the next town, and I'd ran into so many Pokemon and I was getting really annoyed, and I looked at the Weepinbell, and it wasn't even the leaves. I was just like, do its lips look a little more like pink and pale? And I couldn't decide if it were shiny or not. I'd looked away and I missed the sparkles, so I thought, I'll just catch it. Let's see what happens. And it turns out it was shiny, so I got to use a cool, shiny Victory Bell for the rest of my playthrough, and that's why I named it Tamatoa. Plus, like Crab Snap, it's got the snapping mouth. I don't know. It made sense to me at the time. So that's always been a fun story. Coming in at number 6, I have Kyogre, which I named Thorka. So this is another legendary shiny Pokemon. This is not from Pokemon Go. This is from Sword and Shield from the Dynamax Adventures. So you can obviously see what I named it after. Thor, the god of thunder, makes sense. This thing hits like a truck. Plus it hits 100% thunders with drizzle. But also, obviously, based on an orca whale. But the cool story about it is actually in the Raid Max Adventure, I got 2 shinies, and you can only keep one. So I got the shiny Amoonguss, and I got the shiny Kyogre. Now this was an easy choice, even though I actually think Amoonguss's shiny is better. Kyogre is a little more rare. Plus, Pokemon literally gave out a free, like, Japanese shiny Amoonguss. So, like, when I first saw that, I was kind of bummed. I was like, dang, I already have this shiny. That's not as special. And then I went down a few more. Shiny Kyogre right there. I kept it, and it's pretty sweet to have in my Pokemon Home shiny grouping. Coming in at number 5 from here, I think they get really special. I have a shiny Morgrem. You're probably wondering why it's not a Grimmsnarl, and honestly the fact of the matter is I just don't really like Grimmsnarl, and I think that Impidimp and Morgrem are cooler, and I think they have a better shiny scheme, becoming blue. So I named it Diddy, after Diddy Kong. I guess I think it looks kind of impish. I didn't really know what to name it in the moment. But the coolest thing is the story of how I got this. So I was going through the Glimwood Tangle, trying to make my way to Balonlea Town. And you know Glimwood Tangle is very beautiful. You've got all these cool Pokemon encounters, but like it's just very light and bright. And when you go up to those huge mushrooms, when you click on them, they'll often change colors, and that'll put a whole different light on the Glimwood Tangle. So I was clicking on it, and I made it blue. Blue's like my favorite color. So I wanted to make the forest look blue. And right at about that time, I'd seen an Impidimp running towards me. As you can see, they spawn by the mushrooms, and sometimes they'll attack you, and you get like this static encounter, Impidimp. And at first when it was running towards me, I was like, it looks blue because of the blue light. So I was like, oh, that's funny. Then when I battled it, it was actually blue, and it was a shiny Impidimp. I caught it, I named it Diddy, and this was actually during my first Pokemon Sword Nuzlocke that I did. So I got to have a shiny Pokemon on that Nuzlocke throughout the entire playthrough, full odds shiny, and I kept it as a Morgrem and gave it an Eviolite throughout the whole thing. So now it's a level 100 Morgrem. I don't plan on ever evolving it. Coming in at number 4, we have Imbor, who I named Pumbaa. Now, I forgot to put a gif of Pumbaa, but you know Pumbaa is the beast from Lion King, the big boar himself. And I'm a big fan of this shiny. I think it's fantastic, and the shiny actually made me really love this Pokemon. I never liked Imbor before, but owning this shiny made me love it. So basically what happened is I was going to do a playthrough of, I can't remember if it was Pokemon White or Black 2. Those are the Gen 5 games I own. But I decided I wanted to do a Nuzlocke, and I wanted to start with a shiny starter. and I was going to give it like a new life after each gym so I could use it for the whole playthrough. Everything else was regular Nuzlocke. Anyway, I had done so many soft resets, probably thousands, trying to get this stupid shiny Snivy, and I was getting a little bit tired, and I was hanging out with a friend that day, and he was like, hey, you know what, why don't you let me soft reset it for you a few times while we're watching this movie? So he did. He got kind of bored of it. He's like, hey, I'm going to switch to Tepig just once, then I'll go back to this. I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And of course, on the first try, boom, it's a shiny Tepig. So I played through the game with a shiny Tepig, and at first I was kind of like annoyed at it. Like, of course I get this one, not Oshawott, my favorite starter, or Superior, one of my favorite shinies. I get this. But once I saw that shiny Imbor, like, I'd seen it before, but something about it, like, just awoken this love for the Pokemon for me. So that was really cool. I have it in Pokemon Home today. Obviously, it's not in Sword and Shield, so I've not been able to use it in a while, but still very cool to have. Coming in at number 3, they get it amazing from here. I got Nitto King, my favorite Pokemon of all time. I got a shiny of it from Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. I named it Kingsley, after Kingsley from Harry Potter. Very cool character. But basically the first night I got Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It had come out that night. Closest GameStop to me is like an hour away, so I darted over there. I got there like 3 minutes before they closed that night because they weren't open until midnight like I thought they would be. And I paid for my game that I'd pre-ordered, so then I brought it back home. And I started playing it. I get to Route 22 very early in the game where you can get Nidoran, and I decided I am not going through with this game until I get a shiny Nidoran so that I can have a shiny Nitto King to re-experience Kanto, which I experienced as a kid. And it didn't take that long, but it probably took like, I sat there probably like for 5 or 6 hours the first night just shiny hunting. I'd learned about the chain hunting where every time you catch one, it adds on to it. So I decided to do that, and I got myself a shiny Nitto King, and let me just say, I love it so much. It's still in Pokemon Home. I've used it for Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive at times just for fun, and it's been amazing to have. Probably crazy that it's not higher, but I think I've got some really cool ones up high. Coming in at number 2 is the first ever shiny Pokemon that I got. It was an Esprit, actually, and it's now a Meowstic that I named Gatomon after the Digimon. I thought the color scheme fit, but also just a really cool Digimon. But yeah, here's the adorable little shiny Esprit that I am playing with the Pokemon Ami with. I don't have a picture of the actual encounter, but I remember I was doing an all-dark type playthrough. My first ever mono-type playthrough of a game, and I thought it'd be really fun to do it in Pokemon X. I was replaying it for this was probably the second time I'd played the game, and it was a fairly easy game, so I wanted to make it a challenge. I love dark types, and there's a ton of fighting and fairy type gym leaders in that game, so I figured dark would be hard. I had pretty much my whole team, and something I've always done that's stupid is when I've got mostly my whole team and I'm doing a playthrough and I know I'm not going to be trying to fill the Pokédex, like, I won't keep that many Pokeballs on me. So I had very few Pokeballs, and I run into a shiny Esprit. I think it's either Route 7 or 8 on that game. Like, you're heading towards where you're trying to get the Snorlax flute. And I run into this thing, and I'm like, oh, goodness, I don't know if I have enough Pokeballs to catch this. So I'm like, well, I got to weaken it because I can't waste these. Long story short, I remember critting it and almost killing it, and it was, like, down in the red. But I caught it, I think, on the first Pokeball. I immediately named it Gatomon, and it was on my team. Yeah. Like I'm gonna not use my first ever shiny in a playthrough. It was a dark type playthrough, but I just taught it Dark Pulse and said, hey, that's close enough to a dark type for me to be on the squad. I loved using it. I love having it today. I still love playing with it like competitive online every once in a while, but really just like seeing it in Pokemon Home and being like, wow, after all those years, I'd been playing Pokemon for how many years since the Red and Blue, and finally an X was my first ever full odds shiny. Like, we all had that shiny Gyarados growing up, but not the same thing, guys. So this was actually a full odds, and it was amazing. And I expected it to be my number 1 shiny on the list because, like, for nostalgia reasons, it's made me love Meowstic as a Pokemon, and I just love the shiny. But there's one that goes ahead of it, and I'm gonna get a little bit of flack, but let me explain myself. So I have a shiny Berserker that I named Ollie. Now, first off, I think Berserker has a fantastic shiny, but also Berserker is one of my favorite Pokemon, creeped up probably top 5 all time after the Galar games. But yeah, basically, I wanted to do my first ever Masuda method shiny hunt where I get a foreign Pokemon and a Ditto. Now, I didn't have a foreign Ditto, so I had an American Ditto, and I just did Wonder Trades until I got a foreign Pokemon I liked, and I got a foreign Galarian Meowth, and I was like, okay, I'll breed it with my American Ditto until I get a shiny. It's like 1 in 512 odds with the shiny charm, and sometimes it takes into the thousands to get it. After 43 encounters, 43, great number, Troy Polamalu, almost named it that. That fits the color scheme, Steelers. You get it if you like football. But I ended up naming it Astrid because it was a female Berserker, and that's like a female Viking name, and it's like a Viking cat. I was like, yeah, this fits well. And then sometime last year, me and my wife's first ever cat that we were very attached to and really loved got sick unexpectedly out of nowhere, and like within a few days had to be put down. We were very crushed and very emotional about it. And if you look at the pictures of it, it's kind of got like some goldish hair that the Berserker reminded me of. So I renamed it Ollie. And so now every time I see that shiny Pokemon, I think of my boy that I love and miss. So Ollie, you're my #1 shiny, and this video is for you. I miss you, buddy. But anyway, I want to hear, what are your favorite shiny Pokemon that you own? And I want to hear how you got it. What method did you use to get it? What game was it on? Do you remember the story? Why do you like the shiny so much? Give me your full list. Whatever you want to do, I would love to hear it. But I am going to hop off here. I've been going for long enough. I want to thank you for stopping by. This was a really fun video to make. And I've wanted to do more stuff like this. I've just been lazy lately. Been busy, haven't been able to get around to videos, but I'm going to try to start up again. So if you think I deserved it, leave a like, comment, and please do subscribe if you have not. If you don't, that's okay too. But guys, I'm going to hop on out of here. I want you to have yourself a great night. Peace.